The wind dragged dust across the empty street, whispering through the broken shutters of Calvary Ridge. The last color of the day bled out of the sky, turning the world the color of dried blood. Cooper swung off his horse, boots sinking in the grit. He meant only to water the animal, nothing more. Then she came running. A shadow first, a shape darting from behind the livery stable, stumbling through the heat haze of evening. Her breath came in short, ragged bursts. She clutched the side of her torn cloak as if holding herself together. When she reached him, she seized his arm with trembling hands. "If you don't take me," she gasped, eyes wide and desperate, "they'll hang me at dawn." Behind her, men shouted. The sound carried like thunder through the narrow street. Cooper saw torches weaving between the buildings, a mob with purpose, led by a voice heavy with command. Sheriff's men. The woman's face was streaked with sweat and dust. There was blood on her wrist, not fresh but dried dark. "Please," she whispered, voice breaking, "they'll kill me for something I didn't do." Cooper said nothing. His hand hovered near the worn grip of his revolver. He'd seen that kind of fear before, the kind that lives in people who've already accepted death. The men drew closer. Torches flared against the darkening sky, throwing shadows across the saloon walls. Someone shouted her name. "Ellen Graves. You can't run from justice." "Justice?" Cooper almost laughed. She tugged at his sleeve again. "Please." The lead rider raised his rifle. "Marshal Lane, step aside." The name cut through him like a blade. Marshal. It had been years since anyone called him that. He looked at Ellen once, those pleading eyes, then back at the riders. Something shifted in his chest, an ache he thought he'd buried in the red dirt long ago. He swung onto his horse. "Get up." "What?" "Mount up." She hesitated, then grabbed his outstretched hand. He pulled her up behind him, spurred the horse hard, and they tore down the main road. Bullets whined past, snapping through the wind. Glass shattered. A dog barked once. Then silence fell behind them except for the pounding of hooves. They rode through the dying light, dust clawing at their faces. The town vanished into shadow, the sound of pursuit fading. Ahead, the desert opened wide, a dark sea of rock and sand under a rising moon. Ellen clung to him, her breath against his shoulder. "Why are you helping me?" Cooper didn't answer. The horizon stretched endless before them, stars crawling into the sky like watchful eyes. Somewhere far behind, the town's bell began to toll, slow, heavy, final. He didn't look back. He already knew what it meant. By dawn, they'd both be wanted. The horse's lungs heaved like a bellows, hooves striking sparks off the rock as they thundered into the canyon's mouth. The wind funneled through the stone walls in low, haunting moans, the kind that made a man believe the land itself was alive. Ellen clung to Cooper's coat, her grip white-knuckled. Behind them, the faint glimmer of torches crawled along the ridge. The posse hadn't quit. They were cutting through the night like wolves on a scent. "Faster," she whispered. "She'll break if I push harder," Cooper said, patting the horse's neck. The animal's breath came in harsh bursts of steam against the cold air. They turned a bend where the walls tightened, the moonlight vanishing to a thin silver thread. The path narrowed to no more than a horse's width. One misstep, and they dropped 50 feet into blackness. Cooper's eyes flicked up the rock face. He saw movement, the brief flare of a match. His jaw clenched. "Down!" The rifle cracked. Stone exploded near Ellen's shoulder. She screamed, flattened against him. Cooper yanked the reins, swung them behind a jagged outcrop. "Are you hit?" She shook her head, dust streaking her face. "They're already in the pass." He drew his revolver, checked the cylinder by touch. 6 rounds. "Stay low." A torch flared again up the trail. He sighted down the iron, breath steady, and fired once. The light spun wild, then vanished. The echo rolled through the canyon like thunder. For a heartbeat, there was only the ringing in their ears and the crackle of the dying torch. Then silence. Ellen stared at him, wide-eyed. You shot that man clean from 50 yards. Cooper holstered the weapon. "Habit." They moved again, slower now, every hoofbeat deliberate. The canyon curved, its walls bleeding moonlight across the sand. Ellen's voice broke the quiet. My husband found gold here once, not far from this pass. That's why they're chasing me. He left proof, a letter. They'd rather see me dead than see it read. Cooper said nothing, just guided the horse through the winding stone ribs of the pass. The desert wind whistled over them, carrying the faint echo of pursuit, still distant but closing. After a long while, Ellen spoke again. "You're no ranch hand. You don't ride like one, don't shoot like one." Cooper's eyes stayed forward. "No. Who are you then?" He didn't answer. The silence stretched until the canyon opened to a plateau washed in ghost light. The horse stopped on its own, trembling from the ride. Below them lay a valley of bone-white rock, the trail twisting down like a snake into the dark. Cooper scanned the ridge one last time. "They'll be on us by dawn," he said. Ellen pulled her cloak tighter. "Then we ride till it breaks." He nodded once, spurred the horse onward. Behind them, the wind carried a single, hollow sound, the cry of a crow circling the dead man's torch. The fire cracked low, blue and thin, barely clinging to life beneath the desert wind. Cooper crouched beside it, turning a single ember with the point of his knife. The horse stood nearby, reins dragging in the dust, its breath fogging faint in the cold dawn light. Ellen sat opposite him, knees pulled close, the glow flickering across her face. Her eyes were hollow, rimmed with exhaustion, but steady now, too steady for fear alone. "They'll be here before sunrise," she said quietly. Cooper didn't look up. "Then we've got time to think." "There's nothing left to think about," she replied. "You saw what they'll do." The fire popped. Somewhere beyond the cliffs, a coyote called once, then went silent. Cooper sheathed his knife, leaned back against the stone. His hat shadowed his face, but his voice came low, rough as gravel. "Used to be I'd have ridden straight into M. Would have believed the law was on my side. But the law is just a badge and a name now. Neither worth much." Ellen's gaze sharpened. "You used to wear one." He looked across the flames at her, didn't answer, didn't need to. The silence between them said it plain. "What happened?" she asked. He exhaled slow. "Shot a man I thought was guilty. Turns out he wasn't. Town buried him, and the truth with him. I turned in my star that night and rode till I forgot the sound of my own name." Ellen nodded, eyes fixed on the ember light. "My husband was no innocent either. But I didn't kill him." Cooper's eyes lifted. She went on, voice trembling but clear. "He found gold on our land, enough to make rich men greedy. He thought he could buy them off, but they turned on him. Wexler and the others. When they shot him, they put the pistol in my hand. Said a wife's tears would sell any story." Her hand went to her boot, pulling out a folded scrap of paper stained dark at the edges. She laid it between them. His confession. He wrote it when he knew they'd come for him. Cooper studied the letter without touching it. The firelight flickered over the fading ink. "You keep that close," he said finally. "It's worth more than gold." Her lips curved into something that might have been a smile, faint, tired. "I don't care about gold. I just want the truth to live longer than his lies." Wind hissed through the rocks again, scattering ash. The sky was paling, soft gray on the horizon. Ellen stood, pulling her cloak tight. "I'm done running." Cooper rose beside her, holstering his revolver. "Then we stand." From far below, hoofbeats echoed, faint, rhythmic, inevitable. The fires sputtered once, then died, leaving only smoke and the quiet breath of dawn. The first shot echoed through the canyon walls, chasing the sunrise before it could touch the ground. Cooper fired back from behind a boulder, the report thundering through the narrow pass. Dust kicked from the rocks beside him as bullets found their mark and ricocheted wild. Ellen crouched low near the old wagon ruins, clutching the rifle with trembling hands. "They've split up," she shouted over the chaos. "I see him," Cooper growled, reloading. His coat hung open, the old badge glinting faintly beneath it, tarnished, half-buried in shadow. Hooves pounded through the dust as Sheriff Wexler's men fanned out across the ridge. The sheriff himself rode in slow, calm, rifle resting across his saddle. His voice carried clear through the smoke. "You always did pick the wrong side, Marshal." The word struck harder than any bullet. Ellen's eyes snapped to Cooper. "Marshal." She saw it then, The set of his jaw, the precision in his movements, the weight of ghosts on his shoulders. "Stay down," he told her. "I'm not leaving you." A dry smile touched his mouth. "Didn't figure you would." He rose from cover and fired twice. One rider fell. Another wheeled away, hoarse screaming. Wexler dismounted slowly, stepping through the dust, the sun flaring at his back like a crown of fire. "You should have stayed gone, Lane," he called. "This ain't your fight." Cooper stepped into view, rifle leveled. "You made it mine when you murdered an innocent man and called it justice." Wexler's grin was thin and cold. "Justice? No, Marshal. Just business." The next instant, both men fired. The world cracked open, gunpowder, smoke, sunlight, blood. Cooper staggered, hit low, but his second shot took Wexler square in the chest. The sheriff stumbled, shock written across his face, and fell into the dust. The others froze. The sound of gunfire faded to the hollow wind moving through the stone. Ellen stood slowly, rifle shaking in her hands. "It's over," she said, voice breaking. Cooper sank to one knee beside Wexler's body. The sheriff's badge gleamed in the dirt beside him. He picked it up, turned it once in his hand, then dropped it beside the man's gun. Ellen came to him, clutching the blood-stained letter. She laid it on Wexler's chest. "That's your confession," she whispered. Cooper's breath came ragged now, pale in the morning light. "You ride east," he said softly. "Find someone who'll listen. I'm not leaving you." He looked up at her, the faintest ghost of a smile crossing his face. "You already did." The sun broke over the ridge then, pouring gold through the canyon. When the posse rode down an hour later, they found only silence, the smell of smoke, and two sets of hoof prints leading into the desert. One light, one fading. And sometimes, when dawn creeps through Devil's Pass, the wind still carries the echo of hooves, and the whisper of a woman's voice begging not to hang.